Good morning, children. Now, the next topic is comparing quantities or ratio and proportions. See, how do we compare quantities? Can we compare a bike to a car? Can we compare water to milk? See, before we go for comparison, we should know that we should say takes the same kind of quantities or the same kind of things. Then only we can compare. So you can compare two cars, saying that one car is this much worth and the other car is that much worth. We can compare taking two vessels and then say that this particular vessel has 5 liters of milk and the other is having 10 liters of milk. So, whenever we compare things, we have to keep in mind that they belong to the same kind of material or quantities, right? Or we are comparing the cost, or we are going to comparing the speeds of two vehicles, or we are comparing the distances. So, the distances, volume, speeds, price, these are the quantities which you can compare. You cannot compare speed with volume. You cannot compare mass with distance. You cannot compare weight with liters. Okay, so this is what you have to keep in mind first of all, right? So therefore, whenever you compare, how do we compare? So when we compare something like, let us see this particular example. We have same quantities. Suppose this particular jug A can accommodate or is of capacity 5 liters and jug B is of capacity 10 liters. So how do we compare? How do we say? In general, we say that the capacity of B is twice that of capacity of A. Is it not? So when we compare, we speak about like any one thing we take as a reference. Capacity of B is twice that of capacity of A. Or we can say capacity of A is half that of capacity of B, right? So usually whenever we talk about this comparison, we use this by division process, right? Like, so that is what we call as a ratio. Suppose now if I wanted to use the division process, then I'll do it like capacity of A by capacity of B is equal to, what is the capacity of A? 5 liters by 10 liters. So that means liter is getting cancelled and 5 two times and 1 time. So 1 by 2. So capacities of A is to B. Capacities A is to B is equal to 1 is to 2. This is how we will write. So this is called ratio form. Here what is happening, liter and liter should get cancelled. In the ratio you will not find any kind of unit here. So whatever we are taking, that should get cancelled. So therefore you have to take the same quantity, weight by weight, volume by volume, distance by distance, speed by speed. That is very, very important for you people to keep in mind before you start doing the chapter ratios or comparing the quantities. Right. So now let us see the second example here. Yeah, what do we find here? There is a basket C and basket D. How do we compare? So in basket C, the number of flowers are 2. And basket D, how many are there? So now let us count how many are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 are there in basket D. So therefore here 2 flowers, here 8 flowers. So when we compare, we say that basket C is, what do we say? 1/4 times of whatever flowers you have in basket D. Or basket D is having 4 times more flowers in when compared to C. So this is how we compare. So therefore flowers in C by flowers in D is equal to 2 by 8 is equal to 1 by 4. That is C is to D is equal to 1 is to 4. Suppose if the other way round is asked, if other way round is asked, suppose if they are asking the find out the ratio of flowers in basket D to C, then you are going to write it as D is to C is equal to, reciprocate this one also, 4 is to 1. Reciprocate this one also, D is to C is equal to 4 is to 1. So this comparing the quantities will be very easy when we go, like when we take division into our mind. Now let us see this one, P and Q. So at place P we have one butterfly, and Q it is 3 butterflies. Let us do Q is to P now. Q is to P is equal to 3 is to 1. It is so simple. But basic things you should understand, why we are doing, what is the meaning of the comparison. Right. So then now next one is same quantities but different units. Suppose quantity is the same, that is distance we are taking, suppose one example. So in a particular case, as how it is given in this example, here this car has traveled a distance of 500 meters. This car has traveled a distance of 1 kilometer. So here in both the cases we are taking distance only. Okay, in both the cases we are taking distance only. But what is happening here, it is 500 meters, it is 1 kilometer. How do you find out the ratio? So when I say that it is A by B, so A is to B, then how are we going to write? Can we write it as 500 is to 1? Does it mean 500 kilometer is to 1 kilometer? No. So, or does it mean 500 meters to 1 meter? No. So what should we do? The thing is that you have to convert any one of the units into the other form. Here it is 1 kilometer can be written as 1000 meters. So therefore when I write A is to B, it is 500 is to 1000. So that means 500 one time and two times. So this is 1 is to 2. That means, so if A is having is covering a distance of x, generalizing it, right, and then B can cover a distance of 2x. That means twice the distance covered by A. That is how you have to understand as immediately as you see the ratio concept. Okay, so now here let us take another example of like quantities are same. Quantities in the sense measuring quantity. That means weights are, here we are going to measure in weight. Okay, not like one is weight and the other is density. Right, not like one is weight and the other is volume. Right, here both the cases we are taking like weight only, but units are different. See the first part, it is of 1 kg all fruits together, and the second one is 300 grams. So what should we do? Convert 1 kg here into 1000 grams. So therefore now again let us see, right, this is C and this is D. Then C is to D is equal to 1000 is to 300. 2 zeros will get cancelled. 10 is to 3. So this is a 10 is to 3. This is how we have to write the ratio form of any given quantities. This is how we can compare the quantities. So what is the basic thing? How many times it is more or less, that we are going to discuss. Like whenever you see a ratio, you should generalize it. Something like if there is 1:2 ratio, that means don't take in your mind as 1:2. Children, now you are grown up. See, you can imagine it to be x is to 2x. That means if you have x in number, and if you are A, if you have x in number, then B is having twice that whatever you have. Or like if you are B, like if you have 2x in your hand, then A is having half whatever you have. So that simplifies, that minimizes the stress in solving the problem whenever you generalize it, whenever you think it in general way. So it will be very easy for you to solve these problems. If not, you will feel a bit confused and difficult to solve problems based on ratio and proportions. Okay children, so now pause the video for a moment and copy down these. Take the screenshot. Then now the next half. Now let us see an example here, right? Ram spent rupees 12 and Raj spent rupees 18 and bought 20 pens together. How many pens each should get? So here what is happening? Together two friends, they have bought 20 pens. Like for that, how much did Ram contribute? Ram contributed 12 rupees and Raj contributed 18 rupees. Okay, and together they bought 20 pens, sorry. How many pens each should get? That means here, how are you going to solve? So we are going to solve based on ratio and proportions only. See, whatever you have spent, in which ratio you have contributed the money, in the same ratio you have to get the goods, is it not? In the same ratio you have to get the goods. So now let us see what is the ratio. Ratio of money spent by Ram and Raj. So now Ram is to Raj is equal to how much it is? 12 is to 18. So now directly I am doing it here. I hope you can understand it. 6 2s are 6 3s are 18. So it is in 2 is to 3 ratio. So they have spent the money in 2 is to 3 ratio. That means how many total parts? Total parts is equal to sum of the ratios. Please remember that always. This is going to help you a lot. So suppose if I say that two parts are spent by for two parts Ram has contributed for two parts and Raj has contributed for three parts. Total goods, how many parts we have to equate it to? 5 parts. We have to equate the total. That means in 5 portions we have to divide that one. 5 equal portions we have to divide, and 2 portions you have to give to Ram and 3 portions we have to give to Raj. This is how you have to use your common sense. Okay, while you are thinking, this is the way you have to think. Right? So therefore, now, but total pens is equal to 20. So therefore, now Ram's share is equal to, what is the Ram share? 2 out of 5 parts of 20. This is how you have to think. 2 out of 5 parts of 20. Right? 2 out of 5. In the whole thing, what is the whole thing? 20 is the number of goods. Right? So that means Ram should get 2 by 5 shares of the whole thing. 2 by 5 shares of the whole thing. What is the meaning of 2 by 5 shares? That means 2 out of 5 shares. 2 out of 5 shares. So total shares we made it as 5. And now out of 5 shares, how many shares should Ram get? 2 shares. And the total quantity is 20. So please children, this is the best way of understanding and solving the ratio and proportion problems. Now cancel this one because this is in the numerator. 5 4s are 20. Now 2 into 4 is equal to 8 pence. So he has to get 8 pence. Ram's share is 8 pence. Then now Raj's share. So he has to get 3 out of 5 shares. Is it not? So simple. 3 out of 4 of 20. Of 20 in the sense into 20. 20 is in the numerator. So 5 4s are. Now 3 into 4 is equal to 12 pence. So therefore Raj's share is 12 pence and the Ram's share is 8 pence. Ram's share is 8 pence and Raj's share is. So total 8 plus 12. 20 pence. Right? Is that clear, children? So this is. So therefore ratio of pence is equal to 8 is to 12. 8 is to 12. So 4 2s are 4 3s are. See the magic here. See the magic. 2 is to 3. Ratio of pens is 2 is to 3. Ratio of the amounts spent is also 2 is to 3. Now, is the distribution done genuinely? Yes, absolutely. The distribution is done very genuinely. Okay, this is only to make you people realize how this is correct. I just checked it for your sake, right? So whatever, how much they have spent, in which ratio they have spent money, in the same ratio they got the goods. Okay, this is how usually calculations will be done in partnership businesses, as well as in like loss and profit business. Like if the loss is has to be distributed based on how much investment, or based on how much partnership that they have, and all these things. So in this chapter we are going to learn even those things like loss and profit, interest, and all the things, right? So but generalize the problem. Don't look at the problem as though you are writing the steps, but you should look at the problem as though you are capable of solving day to day problems whichever are coming across you, like, and then you can solve, you know how, the technique of solving the problems. Okay, so this chapter, especially ratio and proportions, if you think it as a chapter, it is difficult. But if you think it as something like very interesting application in day to day life, you can just sit with your parents or the siblings and then make your own problem and then start solving. Like suppose if I invest so much in a business and you invest so much in business, at the end of the year, if we get a total of this much profit, how much profit am I going to get, how much profit are you going to get? So if you start doing like this, there will be a chance that you will find some interest towards starting up your own business when you grow up. Okay, children, right? So now take a screenshot and then copy. And now the last part of today's class, unitary method. What is meant by unitary method? See, suppose if you have purchased a dozen apples for 24 rupees. If the problem is asked to find out what will be the cost of 3 apples, what will be the cost of 3 apples, you can do directly, no doubt in that, right? So taking the total quantity as 12, and if it is 3, what ratio that you will be getting, and then that much ratio of the amount, you can do it. That is one method what you have seen just now. And now unitary method means, see, whichever problem is given to you, right, you have to first find out per one quantity what it is. Per one quantity, suppose if you now just now we said dozen apples for 24 rupees. That means here what we should determine is that for one apple what is the cost. Unitary, unit means it is always one. Unitary means it is like you are going to determine everything for one. Okay, like so for one quantity what is the rate. So suppose if I said that dozen apples, that means 12 apples cost 24 rupees, rupees 24. So now 3 apples cost how much? So therefore you can say that 3 by 12 of 24 directly as such, because 3 is the share, 3 shares out of total 12 shares, is not? Here you are taking apples as shares. So total how many shares are there? 12 shares are there. Out of that, how much you are asking now? 3 shares. So 3 divided by total of 24. This is what we have done just now. Just now. That is the normal method of doing it. And unitary method, it is the basic, most basic method. Just I wanted to revise this method that in your previous classes you have studied. Why am I revising it here? Because if you don't get the idea of doing it, taking as a whole, at least you should proceed using the unitary method. So what is this unitary method? This is the method what we were doing from our childhood. Like now when you know the cost of 12 apples, you can find out the cost of each apple, is it not? Now you will find cost of each apple. So how do you find out the cost of each apple? You know that total cost by the total number. Total cost by total number. Is it not? This is the basic formula based on which you were doing all your word problems. That is equal to 24 by 12 is equal to rupees 2. So therefore cost of each apple, right? That means one quantity now is like for rupees 2. For rupees 2. Then now what you have to extend? You have to extend it to what is the cost of 3 apples. Now it is very easy. Each one costs 2. Then cost of 3 apples is 3 twos are 6 rupees. Therefore, cost of 3 apples is equal to 3 apples is equal to, right? So number of apples into cost of each apple, right? Number of apples multiplied by cost of each apple. Most basic, this is 3 into rupees 2, which is equal to rupees 6. So this is called unitary method. What is this called? This is called unitary method. You are all very well aware of this method, but see, when you are as a child, to understand everything you are doing so many steps. But if you adopt the method what just now we have discussed, it is a direct thing, is it not? So if you take 12 apples as 12 shares, to find out the cost of 3 apples, it is 3 out of 12. 3 out of 12 of 24. Of 24. So the problem will reduce directly, right? Like 3 by 12 of 24. 12 twos are 24. So 2 times 2 threes are 6. Directly in one step you are going to get that one. Right? Before you can digest that kind of concept, just it is a recollection of whether you will be able to recollect your unitary method and compare this method with the method that you have learnt just now. Okay children, so please pause the video and then take a screenshot, and example 2 whatever is written here, if the cost of 12 pencils is 24, what is the cost of 10 pencils? This is as a homework to you, and I want you people to do in both the methods, like taking as shares, like so which parts? 10 out of 12 of 24. 10 out of 12 of 24 is one method, and the other one is the unitary method. I want you people to do in both the methods and post me your answers. Okay, so see you again in the next class.